Welcome, I'm Warren Stone with GlobeRanger Corporation, and today we're going to take a quick tour of GRAware, an asset management system and application designed to use with RFID and barcode in order to track assets at any site, whether it be IT assets, tools, weapons. It's extensible and configurable to almost any application. Today we're going to in particular be showing you GRAware for police department or municipality. It offers a quartermaster function with check-in and check-out, and we'll be walking through that. First, let's talk about what we have set up here. In this display podium, underneath we have an RFID reader, and a single antenna facing upward, and we have a second antenna in the back facing forward. This is making what's typically known in the RFID industry as a smart table. Any RFID tag that's brought within this area will be read and interrogated and can be used to perform processing on it. So here we have the standard quartermaster application. It is waiting for an employee to come in and scan their badge to be issued equipment or assets. Typically we can read any kind of HF tag, like a MyFair tag that's used for security access into doorways, or we can RFID enable a standard tag using UHF. When the employee comes in, they place their tag over the RFID reader, and we bring up an inventory of what the person's already been assigned. In this case, we can see we have a column for required quantity, and we have a column for issued quantity. We also have the ability to look and see items that are just where issued doesn't match required. This is really useful when a new recruit comes in and they're not sure what functions he's in and what he should be assigned. They can just bring this issue up, they can just click that item, and then as they begin to assign items, those items will automatically be removed from the list. So we also have the ability to do assignment or required quantities by functions. And in this case we can see that there are different functions here: sworn, patrol, honor guard, bike team. In this particular department, many of these functions are temporary. For example, honor guard might only be for 90 days. So when a person gets assigned to honor guard, we have a web service call that we've integrated with their back-end HR system, and we get an update every day as to the functions that a particular person is in. So he can be assigned to honor guard, and we can automatically generate an email to him then saying, you know, you've just been added to honor guard, these are the items you have to come in and pick up. Likewise, if he is actually rotates out of honor guard, he'll now have too many items, and the email will then tell him, here, you need to bring these items back. And it will give him a specific list of the items that he needs to return to be in compliance. You can see that we are able to issue non-RFID items and RFID-enabled items. In this case, we can see that the RFID item is actually identified by the value in the RFID tag. Other items that are by count only, there's no specific identifier for that, but we do issue and control these by quantity. So we can go ahead and submit and add those items to the person's inventory. So I'm going to go ahead and change over to my own ID card. So we'll pull up my inventory instead of Officer Alcorn. And in this case, you can see that I only have a single role. I'm a non-uniformed civilian. So we're going to go ahead and talk about how things are normally issued using RFID. Typically in RFID, this department wants to control all of their uniforms. Anything that says police on it, anything that has a badge on it, they want tracked, and they want it tracked explicitly to know that it was this piece of clothing. So they use the RFID tag. It's a soft, flexible laundry tag. It's available. It's allowed to be washed, dry cleaned, and ironed. And they take that and they sew that particularly into a seam somewhere where it's captivated and won't fall out. And then when it comes time to issue a piece of clothing, all the quartermaster has to do is place the item on the table, and the RFID reader will go ahead and read that item and know it's specifically this jacket. And in this case, you can see that it's asking it to check out. It knows it was in inventory at the quartermaster station, and it's now saying if it's been in inventory there and we're now dealing with Mr. Stone, we're going to go ahead and submit that to him. So when we go ahead and submit it, you will see that it actually updates on the item, and we can actually look and see the RFID tag value down here for that particular item. Of course, we don't need to do this just with clothing. We can do it with any kind of accessory, weapon, could be a tool, it can be almost anything. It could be RFID tagged. So we can do the same thing with a laptop. We can read the value. In this case, you notice it popped up and it assumed I wanted to check it in. That's because the system knew that this item had already been issued to me, so it assumes when I'm coming in with that item and placing it on the table that I want to go ahead and return that item. So we can go ahead and do that too. Now, this particular customer wanted one-by-one confirmation of every transaction. We can configure the system to do a list where we can build a list of items that are being issued or returned, and then do a single confirmation for the entire list. We can use the employee's ID card as a second pass to create kind of a digital signature that the person is accepting these items versus just a mouse click. And we can also use digital signature capture pads to actually make the person sign and capture an image of his signature associated with that transaction. So let's go ahead and assign me something else. In this case, it's going to be a tool. It's going to be a drill. We just go ahead and we scan the item again. And the first thing we get is a warning. Well, that warning is there because none of my roles require me to have a drill. So, in this case, they wanted the ability to override that. But for example, if we were doing a weapons checkout and the person wasn't qualified to handle that weapon, then obviously we would stop that transaction and say, no, it's not allowed. You're just not allowed to have this. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, I can have it. We're going to get the same checkout because it knows it was in inventory previously. We can go ahead and submit it. I get one more warning because my quantity is not correct. Quantity is 1 and I should have 0. Again, they allowed this to be overridden also. And I'm going to go ahead and complete the checkout of the drill to myself. So that's the basic operation of the quartermaster application. You can see how easy it is to check items in and check them out very quickly. But the real reason to use RFID in many cases is not just to track, but also to get reports. So we obviously have all the reports about show me what's been assigned, show me how many laptops I have issued, how many laptops I have in inventory, still in quartermaster inventory. We have all of those standard inventory functions. Now, one thing we can do also, though, is we can go into a report that will actually show me what is assigned to a person. So in this case, it's been sorted by employee name. I've selected my name out of the filters, and I'm going to go ahead and look at that report. And it will bring back me only the RFID tag items in this case, because this is an RFID report only. And we can see all the items that are assigned to me. But one interesting thing we can do is we can actually look at the history of this item. So I can actually click on this RFID tag, which is a unique identifier, and I can bring up another report, and this time I can see the entire history of this asset as it's been moved around through the site. I'll see when it's been issued, when it was in the quartermaster, when we commissioned the RFID tag, it's been assigned, it's gone back to the quartermaster, it's been assigned back out again, and we see that history ongoing all the way to the latest transaction. So if you've wondered who's handled that particular weapon or who's handled that particular tool over the last month, here's a very easy way to track them. We also saw that I wasn't allowed to have a drill as part of the non-uniform civilian role. Well, GRAware offers a very flexible interface. It's a web portal into almost all of GRAware's configuration. We can add attributes, we can add locations, we can add activities to different items, we can add different item types. This can all be done by the end user using a standard interface. In this case, here's the item I need to, this is where we associate functions, such as this case, non-uniform civilian, to the items that are required. So I can just go ahead and click on this, and I can add drill to my list of items that I need as a non-uniform civilian. So it's very easy to maintain your attributes for all your assets, to maintain the types of assets you have, and keep these items controlled at a local basis. In this case, you can now see the drill has been added to the list of required items for a non-uniform civilian. We can also go in, like I said, we can add attributes and many other functions. So that's it for the GRAware functionality from the quartermaster point of view. Next, we're going to be talking about how we do inventory on items, whether we're inventorying a room or, in this case, a police vehicle. Another very important part of GRAware is the ability to inventory items and inventory locations. So in one of our customer sites, they are inventorying the patrol cars every day as they do a shift change. Something that used to take them 10 to 15 minutes to hand write out and then enter into a computer and submit it. ensuring the fact that they were truly equipped and ready to start their shift. So what we've done in that customer's location is to RFID tag the major pieces of equipment in the car. But this same process can be used if you were doing a SWAT locker or a tool room, just about any location. Locations are flexible and extensible within GR Aware. End users can add locations at any time and assign assets to that location. So what we're going to do is we're going to click the inventory button so that we can take an inventory of this. We're going to use the employee ID card, just like we used at the quartermaster, and we can see the handheld defaults to being set up to do an RFID scan. So we're going to go ahead and scan the ID badge. It'll come back with the person's going to perform the scan. And at one of our customer sites, since their uniforms are tagged, they just basically scan any piece of clothing they're wearing that's tagged. And then we're going to barcode scan the location, which is on the car, and it will automatically bring us up a list of the items that are assigned to that location. And you can see here we have 7 items that belong in this vehicle. I have 7 tags over here, and we're just going to go ahead and start scanning them. And you can see that as you scan these and find these items, they disappear off the list. So you have immediate visual feedback as to if you have scanned everything you should have or not. So in this case, what we've done is we've set it up for the fact that we see that we are missing one item that is in blue, and we have one unexpected item that's in red. I can, at any time I wish, go ahead and show all, so I can see the entire list of items that were in the car and what's expected. I can also click any one of the items, such as the unexpected item, and look at the details of that item. In this case, we can see that it actually belongs to car number 273, but we just found it in car number 210. In any case, I'm going to go ahead and submit this inventory because it's actually a reality of what we found when we did the inventory in the car. That radar remote is not supposed to be mine, but I'm going to go ahead and use it on my shift. I'm going to go ahead and take my shift without the cell phone that I'm supposed to have. We submit the inventory, ask for confirmation, and that's it. The inventory is done. So this particular customer, an inventory that was taking 10 or 15 minutes is now done in 30 seconds. So it's very, very quick. And as I said, we're showing them the list of expected items and removing them from the list so they get visual feedback. If for any reason they have trouble reading an item, they can see that it's a cell phone they're missing, and they can go and target the cell phone to make sure they're reading that tag. Okay, so the reason we take these inventories and build reports is to help us track down where these assets are and where they may be identified. So in this case, we can see the inventory we just performed. The cell phone was missing, and we can see that it was last seen in vehicle 210, but it was last seen about 8 minutes before we just performed this inventory. So if we look down in the other items, we can also see that the radar remote that we were using is misplaced. It was last seen in vehicle 210 because we just performed the inventory at the time of our inventory. So this is a way for us to track down items that are missing. They may be seen in inventories of different rooms or locations. We may have something that was supposed to be in a weapons locker, actually for some reason left in a duffel bag in the SWAT room. So we can provide many, many types of reports. We base many of these on SQL reporting services, so end users can also customize and extend the reports themselves. And that's a quick summary of GR Aware as it's configured for a police department. We offer many other items and services that make this a very configurable and extensible platform. And again, it's built on top of GlobeRanger's iMotion RFID framework. Thank you.